automatically follow suit, right? Or we have something to do now, and eventually the leader, or let's say the government wants to cut down expenses, and the president is saying that, okay, for this year budget, I'm taking off 80% from the kitchen budget. The senators too, like, even if they want to increase their own before, they will like, oh, let's cut our own too. They cannot, because the leader, the number one citizen, has shown a good example. They want to follow suit. Okay? Now, the rule of 5, first one is lead yourself. Ability to lead yourself. Ability to lead yourself is the first rule of 5 for leadership. If you cannot lead yourself, then you cannot lead others. The second one is adding value to people. Adding value to people. You must be able to add value to people, to the followers. By adding value to them, you are also helping to develop other leaders.
As somebody who is actually prepared to make use of the opportunities in this computer age, and definitely we all know that this particular Yali SARS event is for us, and we are here because we are ready to tap into the available opportunities. And in this session we'll be talking about building a brand of influence. Now there are two keywords here: a brand and influence. How do you build a brand of influence? Now briefly, let me use this Yali as a case study. Now the last speaker spoke about the advent of this Yali event, which started during Obama's administration. Now looking at that, Obama is somebody, people, especially youths, and most especially in Africa, youths in Africa will respect Obama very well, and it's because of the brand he has been able to build over years. So that's why whenever Obama is speaking, we want to listen, and he has used that brand to influence a lot of people across the globe, across the whole world. Now talking about building a brand of influence. Now what is branding? We talk about branding is the process of creating a strong positive perception of an individual or organization in people's mind by combining such elements as, now in building a brand, you put some things into places. You make use of some things. It's not just about being good, being nice, being kind. No. Now talking about building your brand in a digital form, it's not, there are a lot of people that we know that we've not seen for years, and we've been hearing about them, but what they use in building that brand is by communicating their messages, either through text, through graphics, through video. That is building a brand. So in building a brand, either personal or corporate, it includes the use of text, the use of logos, the use of, now number one is product branding. Now product branding is key, is very important. An example of that is, for example, when we have a product that is being launched, you see a lot of, as in when you go to different places, what you see, the billboard, even when you are checking your Facebook, you see the adverts. When you check your app, you see the adverts. Wherever you go, you see the adverts. Now what they are actually trying to do is, they are actually trying to put that particular product in your mind. So wherever you need something, for example, and in doing that, they put things in places like the use of the logo, images that I've talked about, text, different, as in catching text, the type of branding mostly, because politicians, they want to be relevant, they want to be, they want people to notice them, to always have them in mind. The same thing as celebrities too. Once people forget about them, then the money will stop coming. Now corporate branding, This type of branding is used by businesses interested in creating and maintaining a good reputation. Now, for example, wherever there was a time our brand have a lot to do in influencing people. Now, the last speaker spoke about about leadership, talking about a leadership. The explanation of being a leader is as in ability to. We can say alternatively that a leader is a what? Is an influencer. Now, that influence is like building a brand that leads. So now, for you to be able to lead, you must have the ability to what? To follow. A good follower have high probability of becoming a what? A good leader. Now, in building a brand that influence, we must be very careful and make sure we build a what? A good, a positive brand, because that is what can influence people positively. That is what will make us to become a what? A good leader. A bad brand cannot influence people positively. Now, what is influence? Influence is defined as a capacity to have an effect on the character, development, career, or action of someone or something. And this is exactly what a leader does. A leaders have what? Ability to effect on the character of people, development, career. You see some people, they just in short, even me myself, I want to have PhD. Why? Because of this so person. I remember while I was profile, that was I actually reflect on that. I think deeply, and that was when I made my conclusion. 2 years after I made that statement, myself and one of my friends were talking about that again, and the guy was like, he's not thinking of doing his masters in computers. I said, why? He said, are you not the one that convinced me? Are you not the one that said it's not? I said, I didn't say so. That is it. So as you must have that ability, and it goes beyond just saying it. You must be just like my brother said. It's not just about giving another. You must be able to convince people. Sometimes what you say might look kind of foolish, but when you now explain yourself, when you tell them, that is when they get convinced that, you are on point, you are right, and with that you'll be able to convince them, you'll be able to influence them positively. Let me move. Every interaction, conversation, reaction, attitude, action, and brand you have has the potential to influence other people. There are three main types of influence. Now I will talk briefly about the three main types of influence. Now we have bad stroke negative influence. This kind of influence is a negative one. And now the first type is negative influence, and it is the most damaging. Those who have this type of influence tend to focus on their authority, power, or title. They are often egocentric and prideful. Now their authority, their position, or their title. Now, neutral influence. The action and attitude of this type of influence tends to neither add nor take away from what those around are doing. If a person with this type of influence was in a group of people, they would not necessarily do anything that would cause them to stand out or be seen as a leader. Now, to be sincere, I've been in this kind of position, this neutral influence. I've been in this kind of position before. I could remember in my SS3 when I was appointed the senior prefect. Wow. I was completely neutral. I was neutral to the extent that even sometimes after those that actually came late to school, after the whole assembly, I'll be giving the cane to discipline them. I will be the one monitoring the teachers to see whether they've gone to the class. Immediately I noticed that they've all left, I'll just tell them to be going. But it was later that I realized that look, it is not good. It is as bad as being a bad influence, because now one of the disadvantages even on those fellow students is that they will take me, they didn't take me serious. They were like, oh, don't mind it, anything goes. That kind of influence is not good, and we should try as much as possible to avoid being in that category. They don't proactively lead, help, or take charge. I wasn't in charge then, or take charge. Often the people have to lead and motivate themselves to produce results, because the leader is not going to influence them to do so. Now, the third one is a positive influence. They actively lead, build relationship with others, and are present, all in the attempt to what? To inspire, to coach, and lead people to producing better results. That is what? That is a good example of what? Of a positive influence. And just like I said earlier, this influence is what is related, not just to go and do it. So even if there's going to be, just like the picture the last speaker showed us, so even if there's going to be any danger, let him experience it first, and he uses that to what? To protect those that is leading. That's a good quality of what? Of a good leader. So that is what? That is a positive influence. Now, one thing, even if it is because of that scholarship, they want to be of what? Of good conduct. They want to be of good conduct. So with that scholarship, that NGO have been able to what? Have a good influence. Now what the awardee is doing is what? Reciprocating. Now the number 2, commitment and consistency. We have a deep desire to be consistent in thought and action. For this reason, once we have committed to something, we are then more inclined to go through with it. For instance, you are probably be more likely to support a colleague's project proposal if you have shown interest when he first talked to you about his ideas. Now, this is another what? Another means of what? Influencing. Commitment and consistency. Now, social proof. Social proof. Our sense of safety in numbers dominates much of our behaviors. For example, we are more likely to work late if others in our team people we like. Now, like Pastor Adeboye, so I want to be calm, I want to be gentle as well. Even some are even used to that, to the extent that they shout hallelujah the way Baba shouts hallelujah. That is it. So with that, he has been able to what? To influence so many people. So many pastors now see reasons because of him, now see reasons why they should go to school, study hard before coming to church. The church is no longer a dumping ground. It's no longer a place for illiterates. No. We have graduate, we have PhD holders. So if the GA is a PhD holder, so what stops you being a parish pastor and a dropout? Or no? That is a way of what? Encouraging or influencing people. So, and irrespective of our present position or status, there are people that like us. Even if it is our siblings, our family members, there are people that like us. Even outside our family. So there are people we might not know now. There are people that are watching over us, that are looking at us, looking up to us. So we should be very, very careful. And that is where the kind of brand that we are building, that is where it comes in. It's very important, because that is what we'll use as a way of penetrating, as a way of showcasing ourselves to the world. In our previous in-house training, I've once cited an example of a little boy. While I was on my way from school to my house, I saw these little young boys, and one of them just looked up at me and was like, and he told his friend that, oh, I want to be like. Then I was doing my old school Yali, and the boy was, I want to be like that uncle when I grew up. I was like, I was surprised. So irrespective of our status, we should always remember that we have people that are looking up to us. We have people sef that are following us, even if it is on Twitter, Instagram. Yes, we have followers. So we should learn how to live our life moderately in a way that will glorify God. I'm sorry, I'm taking it to church level. Authority. We feel a sense of duty or obligation to people in position of authority. Job titles, uniform, and even accessories like cars or gadgets can lend an air of authority and persuade us to accept what that certain people say. Now, just like my brother said the other time while he made mention of Governor Sanwo-Olu. Now, because of his position as the executive governor of Lagos State, whenever he has that power to influence so many things. He has that power to influence so many things. That is authority. Because of the Yali serves event to a conclusion, and I want to urge all of us to try as much as possible in our own little capacity, because we should all have this at the back of our mind, that a brand, we, as far as I'm concerned, we are all number one, we are ambassador of ourselves. We are ambassador of what? Of this organization. We are also an ambassador of what? Of this country. By virtue of working here, we are automatically an ambassador of this organization. By virtue of being a Nigerian, a citizen of this country, we are automatically an ambassador of this country. So wherever we go, we should learn to promote the good things about. Let us push out the good things about ourselves, about the organization, about the country, either through the normal process like the traditional means of branding or digital means of branding. Let us try as much as possible to push out the good side of ourselves. Thank you so much. God bless. Before I take my seat, if there's any question.
You just tell us what you've gained from, or you've learned from what each speaker has talked about.
It's not about being a leader. It's not about giving directive. Just like the image that he showed us, you lead. Why practicalize that word, leading? So being a boss leader, focusing on your strengths or your title will only reduce the energy level of your followers. But if you lead, why they follow, they will be energized enough to deliver the goals of that particular team or the vision of the leader himself.
Okay, thank you very much.
I really appreciate the second speaker. I learned so much from him. He made us understand that there are three major branding, and he talked about personal branding, corporate branding, and product branding. And he made us understand that wherever we find ourselves, we are a brand. We should learn to protect our image, learn to protect the image of the company we are representing, and the organization, the country itself, and even our family too. So I think that's a good one.
Thank you very much. Out of the rule of 5 for leading, that lead yourself. For you to be a leader, or for you to become a leader, you should be able to lead yourself. If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead others. It's as simple as that. So I should be able to lead myself wherever I find myself, at home, in my community, in church, in the mosques. Wherever I find myself, I should be able to lead others before I should be able to lead the program. Okay. Before the arrival of some people, we introduced ourselves, and we like to introduce ourselves again. We'll be starting from my left. So, Mr. Femi.
I'm Mr. Oluwafemi Odosin. Director of IT, Yali Waters International.
I'm Joseph Ogule. I'm a co-founder of Pinko International Trade Limited. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Mrs. Taiwo. I'm an administrator.
I'm Yali Christopher, and I handle research at Penny Blue Waters International Limited.
A staff of Fairly Blue Waters International Limited. Thank you very much. I'll be inviting Mr. Joseph for the next time.
I really want to appreciate everyone for making it a point of duty to be here this wonderful afternoon. You left everything to grace this occasion. I say thank you very much for coming. Thank you, Mrs. Taiwo. Thank you, Mr. Femi. Thank you, Mr. Christopher. Thank you, Miss Ogene. We hope to see you come next month.
Let's pray. Pray mode. We thank God for today. We thank God for the success of this program. And we commit every member into the hands of the Lord. We grant, we ask for journey mercy for everyone back to our base. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Let's say the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the sweet